And then also the cost of supplies. What is the cost to buy supplies needed for the event that you do not already own? So a lot of times clients will call you and they'll say, hey, I need you to do my event. And it's a theme that you've never done before. It's a type of event you've never done before. And they just want a price. Well, how are you giving them a price and you don't even know? Like, you don't even know how much the items cost. Like, you have to tell them, you have to be honest and say, hey, I need to look into pricing. Just give me a few days and I have to, I'll get back with you, because you have to go and do some research and find out what the price of this is. If you just give them a price, what's going to happen is that you're going to find out later on, once you actually start going and buying the items, that it costs way more than what you expected, and you're going to lose money on the event. So don't feel like you always have to be in a rush to give clients a price. It's okay to say, I've never done this before. Let me do some research. Let me look into it, and then I'll get back with you during this time frame. And then also think about items that you already have that you are reusing, such as charger plates, linen, napkins, vases. How much do those items cost? The point of you keeping these items is that you can repeatedly use them and make money off of them. You should still be charging for them, even if you already own them. Just because you already have something doesn't necessarily mean you just give it away. Now, there are times when you're doing an event and you may throw a couple of things in. We all do that. This will be nice. I already have it. I'll go ahead and throw it in. But generally, when you're pricing things out, you should be charging them for it, because that's a way for you to make money. It's almost like you're renting the item versus getting it from somebody else. Just decide, which we're about to do now. You want to decide how much you're going to charge your clients for that when you're putting together the invoice. So there's a couple of ways in which you can charge your clients. You can do an itemized invoice, or you can do packages. When I first started out, I worked a lot with packages. But when I had clients that were willing to pay over a certain amount, I learned that doing itemized worked better. But clients that I would just say clients that had smaller budgets, it was better to just sell them a package, because the itemizing, it was going to go way over their budget. Like, put together a package of majority of the stuff you already have, maybe a couple items you have to buy or make, and let that be it. So in terms of preparing to do a package or itemizing pricing, the first thing you have to do is you have to create a price list. And that's what I've done. I have that internally, and I believe I have it kind of on my website under add-ons. Everything's not on there, but clients can actually go on there and see. If they click on add-ons, you can actually go and see how much I charge per item. If some of them it may say like to be determined, because it's going to depend on the size or the amount, but for the most part, you can see each item. So let's just say you have to decide what you're going to charge for your linens. Are you going to charge $25, $30, $40, whatever that is? You'll write that out. Napkins, I charge $2 for my napkin, because I'm paying for the napkin, and then I also have to pay for it to get washed. I also have to pay for staff to fold it. It's $2. It's not $1. So Chiavari chairs, we've kind of moved on from Chiavari chairs. We're using other chairs, but it doesn't matter. The same thing. Specialty chairs, Chiavari chairs. Figure out how much that costs for you to rent. So if it's a Chiavari, average right now is about $7. If it's the round back specialty chairs, I typically charge my clients $15 each for those. I could probably rent them from my vendors for $10, but I'm charging $15. Like, they're a nice chair, and they're worth $15 a chair. They're not worth $10 a chair, but that's what the vendor is giving it to me for. But the client doesn't have to know that. So once again, if it was it's $7. So if it's 50 chairs times $7 plus delivery fee, like clients feel like you just bring the items and you don't have to pay for delivery. So you have to make sure you let them know, yes, they're bringing an item, but there's still a delivery fee. We have to rent this. So you have to charge it to them. You can't pay for it out of your profit. Then also backdrops, drapery. I know some of you do your own backdrops. That still doesn't mean it's free. Okay. So let's just say if you're doing like a basic drape backdrop, let's $200. You can play with this pricing. So if you're doing it yourself, maybe you like, I'm just going to charge them, I already got the drapes. Maybe I'm just going to charge them $100 for 10 feet. Right. But if you're paying someone else, you have to make a little something off of it. You paid that person $100, $150 for a backdrop, it's $200. And then if you're going in more in depth with like the fancy backdrops, which I don't see too much of now, but before it was like when you use like the double bars and it's like layered, it's more fancy. Now everyone's into like the walls in front of just straight drapes. But if you were going with the fancy backdrop, it could be like $350. Acrylic charger plates. Now these are just basic acrylic charger plates. I'm not talking about the acrylic mirror placemats. Talk about acrylic charger plates. You can charge $2 each for those. If you guys feel like you want to just charge $1, you can charge $1. Do what works best for you, but you need to put that down on your price list. Then also the glass charger plates, $3.50 to $5 is what you can charge. When I rent them out, typically, depending on the style, I can get them for $3.50. However, some vendors do charge $5. I have my own inventory of them. So typically I charge the client around $3.50 for it just because I already have them. Organic balloon arches. The price of balloons is crazy now. So for me, the lowest you're going to get any type of arch is going to be around $3.50. Because the prices of balloons is not how it was before. It has gone up. And then also those marquee letters. They're about, well, I have a vendor that charges like $75 each, I think, or $85 each, something like that. I don't know. I charge $100 for, like, I'm not doing all that math. It's $100 each letter. And then also the floor wraps, the 8x8s, if you provide your own, that's different, but I'll say average, they start at around $500 and they can go up based on that. So the point that I'm making is the next activity is to create your price list. List like the top 8 items that you usually provide for events and put a price next to it. You have to know what your own price is going to be first. Now I'm going to do a breakdown. So we've already gone over creating that price list. We know how much everything charged, and I told you how much I'm charging, right? So I put together this table scape, and we're going to treat this like a real event. So this is one of those small, intimate dinners that's probably at a restaurant. It's only going to be 8 people. So you guys know when clients come and it's 8 people, 15 people, they think you should just come out for $1,000 or less, probably even $500, because I don't have that many people, right? But let's break this down, because you guys said you want to do luxe, you want to do upscale. So let's break down an upscale table for 8 guests. So let's just say we have 1 tablecloth. You can charge between $20 to $40 for it. I'm charging $25 for my black velvet, okay? That's fair, because I think I only spent $25 for it. So you got to wash it, dry it. And then we're going with 8 glass charger plates. So I'm charging $3.50 for the 8 glass charger plates. That's $28. Then we're going to go with silverware wine glasses. Typically, when you buy like the silverware wine glasses, it totals out to be $10. And this is just like the basic, we're not talking about the really fancy ones with like the gold trim. And this is like just getting basic silverware, basic wine glasses. And when you're doing stuff like this, you may just provide it and don't have, if it's at a restaurant, don't have the restaurant provided, or this could be in someone's home. So you're bringing everything, right? So let's just say $80 for that. And that's just for 8 people. And then menus. Depending on the style menu, for like this basic one, I charge $3. And I'll give you guys this tip. Some of you may already know that. There's a cheaper way in which you can get menus printed. And I can probably get 50 or more printed for like $10, $12 at this one printer, right? Just giving you guys an example. But so what? I'm still charging $3 a menu. Like, that's how much it costs. Just because I found a gem or just because I found a deal does not have anything to do with the client, because the value of designing this menu and getting this menu printed is $3 each. Now, if they want to do foil, or if they want to do acrylic, or if they want to, it's going to be more, but they can do that as well. I believe like on average, maybe the acrylic menu, the acrylic menu can be like $8 each. So of course you got to look into that and just decide what you want to charge. And then fresh arrangements. So I use larger arrangements when I'm doing florals. So whether it's silk or it's fresh, mine are going to be big. So for me, the lowest I can go with a fresh floral arrangement is $350. And I know you guys are probably like, that is a lot. Well, no, it's not, because I recently did a training in New York, and the floral arrangements that we made, they were huge. For each arrangement, this does not even include the vase. This is just one arrangement, and we had to have had over 30 arrangements in there. $550 for one. That's how much it would have cost the client. So I'm saying $350 for my arrangements if you want me to provide fresh, because this is going to include me having to pay the vendor and whatever. And then there's a fee for the vase. The vase is not included. Candles is not included. That's just flour. And that's very low in terms of fresh floral arrangement cost. The vase is $25. I charge typically like, I charge like $25 a vase, right? And then my candelabras, some people, you guys may already have them. A lot of people have gone and bought those stick candelabras. I didn't buy any because they're so tedious. I have other candelabras, so I rent them out. That way I don't have to keep track of those LED sticks and all that stuff. I rent them. My vendors are going to charge me between $50 to $100. I try to obviously go with the ones that charge $50, and I charge my client $100 each for a candelabra on the table. And then the small bunches of flowers, I would say a nice size of the small bunch could be $50 for fresh florals, but if you can skimp that down, like if you're just giving them a smaller bunch, let's just say that can go down to maybe $25, right? So you could play with that, but I'm just saying like a nice size, I would just say $50. And then stem roses in a vase, that's $3. When you give those little single stem roses, like first you got to think about it. Well, you had to buy the rose. Roses are not cheap now, so that was probably like close to $2. You got to cut it. You got to put it in your little stem vase, $3. And then floating candles. Floating candles are not cheap. Those went up drastically after COVID. So I would just say, for me to flood your table with candles, I use a lot of candles, different sizes. That's about $200 for that. And then there's 8 orchid pieces on the table. So keep in mind, we have to account for everything. So there's 8 orchid pieces on the table. That's these little pieces here. Those are like $1 each, right? So that's $8. So the total that I came up with for this table is $2,152. This is just for the decor. What you have to add on next is you have to add on your design fee. So when you guys say like, oh, I'm not making that much money, how much do I pay myself? You have to have a design fee, and you have to decide what you want that to be. If you're just designing one table, you may just say, I'm going to charge $500 for my design fee. And then, if you design in a smaller event, you may say, I'm going to charge $1,000. And then you can kind of go up. And it can also depend